You're asserting that humans are the only species to pass the test?
High Counselor Zix's crystalline appendages vibrated with incredulity, casting rainbow-like refractions across the chamber.
The same humans who still watch videos of their own kind tumbling downstairs for amusement?
Precisely, your luminescence, Administrator Ven 8 responded, adjusting his sensory stalks with discomfort. However, I feel obligated to mention that they also observe videos of their juvenile felines doing the same, finding both equally entertaining.
The High Counselor's crystalline form dimmed slightly, akin to a weary sigh within the prismatic collective.
Elucidate it to me again, starting from the genesis. Ven 8's holochart sprang to life, exhibiting a timeline of galactic civilization spanning millions of years. As you are aware, we have been conducting first contact assessments for approximately 47,000 standard cycles. The Sentience Qualification Test was crafted as the ultimate gauge of a species' readiness to integrate into the galactic community.
Yes, Zix interjected, their crystals adopting an impatient orange hue. Advance to the relevant portion. Ven 8's holochart zoomed in. The assessment comprises 3 elements: problem solving, ethical reasoning, and adaptive response.
Every species we've encountered has faltered on at least one component. The Zorian, despite their 17 cerebral lobes, were incapable of navigating the quantum maze. The hive mind of Epsilon Aradani became trapped in an ethical paradox, debating the morality of initiating the process. And, well, we refrained from discussing the Gloran collective incident. We lost 3 testing facilities that day.
Zix reminisced somberly. They are still offering apologies via interpretive dance performances, I believe. Indeed. But humans.
Ven 8's sensory stalks quivered with a blend of astonishment and bewilderment.
They approached it differently.
Several Earth hours prior, Sarah Chen gazed at the luminous alien console before her, striving to comprehend the instructions displayed in flawless English, or its alien translation equivalent. She was humanity's randomly designated representative for this allegedly vital test, selected by what the aliens termed a quantum lottery, but what she suspected was more akin to tossing a dart at a roster of names.
Allow me to clarify, she stated, addressing the floating orb serving as her proctor. This is an assessment to ascertain humanity's readiness for galactic community membership, correct?
The orb chimed amiably. The test encompasses 3 segments, and you were randomly selected, a high school physics educator from Cleveland. Our selection methodology transcends your present comprehension, the orb retorted, managing to sound both courteous and patronizing simultaneously.
Sarah snorted.
Buddy, I instruct 9th grade physics, nothing surpasses my comprehension anymore.
I once had to elucidate the perils of ingesting Tide Pods utilizing Newton's laws of motion. The orb's glow flickered momentarily, possibly processing this data. The test will commence now. Part 1, Problem Solving. You must navigate a quantum maze. Quick query, Sarah interrupted, raising her hand instinctively. Are there stipulations against utilizing external resources? The orb paused. I do not comprehend the query. Like, is this an open book exam? Can I phone a friend, utilize my lifelines? Basic game show protocol, you know.
This is not a game show, this is a rigorous evaluation of your species' cognitive capabilities.
Sarah grinned. You didn't negate it. She withdrew her smartphone, which, astonishingly, displayed 5 bars of service within the alien testing facility, and accessed her group chat. Sarah, hey nerds, alien test time.
Need assistance with a quantum maze.
Dr. Brain Brian, like, an actual alien assessment? Sarah, yep, the fate of humanity and all that jazz. Rocket Girl Jess, OMG, cool. Send a pic. Sarah, image attached.
Quantum Queen Ma, oh, that's merely a 4D Klein bottle topology.
Easy peasy.
Dr. Brain Brian, classic quantum tunneling puzzle.
Sarah, cool, how do I solve it? Rocket Girl Jess, have you attempted turning it off and on again? Quantum Queen Ma, first, you'll need to.
20 minutes and several memes later, Sarah had not only solved the quantum maze but had also identified 3 shortcuts and a system flaw enabling negative completion time. The orb seemed to be in a state of shock, its glow diminished to a confused flicker.
that's not, you can't. Part 2? Sarah prompted cheerfully. The ethical reasoning test, the orb continued, sounding less confident. You must assess a complex moral quandary involving. Oh, like the trolley problem? The what? You know, the classic ethics thought experiment, a trolley hurtling toward 5 people, you can divert it to kill 1 person instead. Philosophy 101 stuff. This is far more intricate then. Because we've been debating that one for centuries. There are, like, 10,000 variations. My favorite is the one with the trolley doing a loop-de-loop. The orb's glow turned slightly pink. This is different. You must consider the ramifications of. Hold on, let me check something. Sarah was already typing on her phone. Sarah, guys, alien ethical reasoning test. Thoughts? Philosophy fan Pete, hit me. Sarah, image attached. Philosophy fan Pete, oh, that's merely Kant's categorical imperative with extra steps. Dr. Brain Brian, lol, they transformed the prisoner's dilemma into reality. Rocket Girl Jess, multi-track drifting. Quantum Queen Ma, guys, focus, Sarah, here's what you need to consider. An hour later, Sarah had not only resolved the ethical dilemma but had also submitted a peer-reviewed paper's worth of citations, incorporating references to 3 distinct philosophical traditions and a relevant XKCD comic. The orb was now emitting a sound possibly akin to machine hyperventilation. This is not, you're not supposed to. Final part? Sarah inquired, sipping from her water bottle. The adaptive response test, the orb stated, its voice laced with desperation. You must demonstrate your species' capacity to manage unforeseen circumstances and. Cool, like improv? Sarah was already composing another message. Sarah, final round, need creative problem-solving ideas. Improv master Kyle, yes. First rule of improv, always say yes and. Artistic Alex, break conventional patterns. Rocket Girl Jess, chaos monkey everything. Dr. Brain Brian, have you contemplated explosions? Sarah, guys, I'm attempting to save humanity here. Rocket Girl Jess, exactly. Controlled explosions. Quantum Queen Ma, what about? The subsequent 2 hours involved Sarah implementing what she later described as a fusion of MacGyver, performance art, and that one instance when the chemistry lab required evacuation. The solution encompassed 3 TikTok dances, a comprehensive explanation of why cats invariably land on their feet, accompanied by YouTube videos, and a diminutive controlled fusion reaction that she swore was perfectly safe, mostly. By the conclusion, the orb had fallen completely silent, its glow reduced to a confused pulse. And that is what transpired, Ven8 concluded, their sensory stalks drooping slightly. She passed all 3 segments with what they term flying colors, although I must note that colors do not actually fly in any known dimension. High Counselor Zix's crystalline form had assumed a deep blue hue of contemplation. So, let me comprehend this accurately. When presented with the most intricate assessment we could devise, one that has confounded the greatest minds in the galaxy, the human's response was to solicit assistance from her friends? Not solely her friends, Ven8 corrected. She also consulted something called Wikipedia, watched several YouTube tutorials, and, at one juncture, utilized something called Reddit, where she received 7,432 responses in under an hour, including 3 detailed mathematical proofs and 1 recipe for chocolate chip cookies. But that's cheating. Zix's crystals flashed with indignation. Actually, Ven8 stated cautiously, we reviewed the test parameters, nowhere does it stipulate that the representative must solve the dilemmas independently. We designed it to assess species capability, not individual capability, we merely never contemplated that any species would conceive of solving it collectively. Are you asserting that the human's great innovation, their unique solution that no other species conceived of in 47,000 cycles, was to simply ask others for help? Not precisely, your luminescence. Their innovation was not perceiving it as an assessment at all, to them, it was merely another problem to solve, no different from, what did she term it? Assisting students with their homework. They treated one of the most sophisticated evaluation systems in the galaxy as if it were a group project. Zix's crystalline form shifted through several colors before settling on a peculiar shade of mauve. And the quantum maze shortcuts, the ethical framework citations, the controlled fusion reaction, all documented, peer-reviewed, and, apparently, now trending on something called TikTok?
The human has already submitted a paper to their AR-14 about the quantum maze shortcuts, and the ethical framework she provided is being studied by our philosophers as we speak.
Apparently, humans have been debating the concepts since before they discovered electricity.
But the fusion reaction was perfectly safe, Ven 8 assured quickly, though our engineers are still striving to understand how she achieved it using only a smartphone, 2 paper clips, and something called a Starbucks gift card. The High Counselor was silent for a protracted moment, their crystalline forms cycling through various shades of thought. Finally, they spoke. So, what you're asserting is that humans, when confronted with a challenge exceeding their individual capabilities, solicit assistance? Yes.
And when confronted with complex moral dilemmas, they debate them endlessly and share memes about them?
Yes.
And when required to demonstrate adaptive problem solving, they treat it as entertainment and document everything for their social media followers?
Yes.
Zix's form suddenly brightened to a brilliant white. Don't you see what this signifies, Administrator Ven 8? Ven 8's sensory stalks quivered questioningly.
Every other species we've tested has strived to prove their worth as individuals, the Zorian with their 17 cerebral lobes, the hive mind with its collective consciousness, even the Glorin collective with their interpretive dance.
But humans didn't attempt to prove anything, they simply did what they invariably do. They transformed it into a group activity, made it fun, and solved it together while simultaneously making jokes about it.
Are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that while every other species treated our assessment as a solemn challenge, humans treated it like a Tuesday, and in doing so, they demonstrated precisely why they're ready for the galactic community. They don't take themselves too seriously, they're willing to ask for help, they document and share knowledge freely, and, most importantly, yes, they've somehow weaponized their own inability to take anything seriously into a problem-solving methodology that functions more effectively than anything we've witnessed in 47,000 cycles.
Then considered this.
So, they pass?
They pass, Zix affirmed, their crystals now glowing with amused acceptance.
Though I suspect we're the ones who just learned something. Send the acceptance notification. Already done, your luminescence.
The human posted it on her Instagram before she departed the testing facility. It's already received something called 1 million likes and several thousand comments inquiring if aliens are verified on Twitter yet.
Zix's form flickered with what might have been a chuckle. You know what, Administrator? I think the galaxy just got a lot more interesting.
Meanwhile, back on Earth, Sarah Chen entered her 9th grade physics class the following morning, coffee in hand, appearing no different from any other day. Her students, however, were practically vibrating with excitement.
Miss Chen, is it true you took an alien assessment yesterday? Did you truly solve a quantum maze? My mom saw your TikTok about the fusion reaction. Sarah took a calm sip of her coffee.
Yes, and tell your mom thanks for the tip about the gift card catalyst, it worked perfectly. She set her coffee down and picked up her teacher marker.
Now, who's ready to learn about quantum mechanics?
Trust me, after yesterday, I've got some genuinely intriguing real-world applications to share. The class erupted in cheers, and Sarah couldn't help but smile. Perhaps being humanity's randomly selected representative wasn't such a bad gig after all, at least it would make for one heck of a how I spent my summer vacation story at the next faculty meeting. As she began writing on the board, her phone buzzed with a new notification.
Galactic Council has joined Twitter. Galactic Council is now following you. Sarah grinned.
The universe, it seemed, had a sense of humor after all.
Miss Chen, are we really going to have an alien exchange student?
Sarah looked up from her phone, where she'd been reading the latest Galactic Council orientation package, now available as a surprisingly well-designed app. Her classroom was buzzing with even more energy than usual, if that was possible.
Actually, Tommy, we're getting 3, she replied, unable to keep the amusement out of her voice.
Apparently, after my assessment results went viral, half the galaxy's species want to study our educational methods, even the ones that look like talking crystals.
Emma asked from the back row, not even attempting to hide the fact that she was live-streaming the entire conversation. Especially them?
Sarah pulled up the holographic display that had been installed in her classroom overnight, apparently standard issue for all Earth schools now.
Now, the Prismatic Collective is particularly interested in our. She checked her notes.
Remarkably chaotic, yet effectively optimized, information transmission methodologies. They mean memes, don't they? Someone called out.
They absolutely mean memes, Sarah confirmed.
In fact, hold on, let me check something. She pulled out her phone and opened her now significantly more exotic group chat. Sarah, at Hi Counselor 6, quick question about the orientation package.
Hi Counselor 6, greetings, Educator Chen. We are still adapting to your text-based communication protocols. Rocket Girl Jess, OMG, you don't have to use caps lock, your luminescence. Hi Counselor 6, oh, this is more comfortable. Thank you, Rocket Girl. Quantum Queen Ma, did anyone else see the quantum physics curriculum they sent? It's interesting. Dr. Brain Brian, interesting like wow, cool or interesting like oh no? Quantum Queen Ma, interesting like they're still using string theory unironically. Sarah, actually, that's what I wanted to ask about the curriculum integration guidelines. Hi Counselor 6, yes. We've prepared extensive documentation. Sarah, I was thinking we could do it potluck style. Hi Counselor 6, I do not understand this term potluck. Rocket Girl Jess, space potluck. Improv Master Kyle, yes. And space barbecue. Hi Counselor 6, what is happening? Sarah, trust me, it'll work better than any official guidelines. Sarah looked up from her phone to find her entire class watching her expectantly. Good news, everyone, we're having a potluck next week to welcome our Galactic Exchange students. Bad news, we need to figure out what foods are safe for crystalline life forms. The class erupted in excited chatter, and Sarah could already see students pulling up research on their devices. She hadn't even assigned it as homework, they were just genuinely curious. Sometimes, she wondered if the aliens had any idea what they were getting themselves into. In the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, High Counselor Zix was experiencing what humans might call a moment of clarity. Administrator Ven 8, they called out, their crystalline form shifting through thoughtful hues. I believe we may have miscalculated. Ven 8's sensory stalks perked up with concern. About the humans, your luminescence? Yes. We thought passing our assessment meant they were ready for the Galactic Community. Zix's form sparkled with what might have been laughter. But I'm beginning to suspect that we weren't ready for them. Is this about the meme economy they're trying to establish with the Zorian? Ven 8 inquired. Partially. Did you know the humans have already created something called TikTok tutorials for proper crystalline being care and maintenance? There's one about optimal light refraction angles that has over 10 million views. 10 million? And the comments section is full of genuine scientific discourse mixed with something called puns? Ven 8 adjusted their feeds uncomfortably. The hive mind of Epsilon Aradani has reported similar phenomena. Apparently, they've become addicted to something called cat videos. The Glorin Collective's interpretive dance performances are now trending on multiple human social media platforms, Zix continued. They've been invited to something called America's Got Talent. Should we be concerned? Zix's form shifted to a shade that indicated deep contemplation. You know what the most fascinating part is? The humans aren't just sharing their knowledge, they're actively learning from every species they encounter. That physics teacher, Sarah Chen? She's already incorporating quantum maze principles into her curriculum. Her students solved in weeks what took our